So Pulse is a nonprofit that works to cultivate a community of young servant leaders to transform Pittsburgh. So we invite recent college graduates to partner with nonprofits for years service and leadership. So our participants work basically 35 hours a week in a nonprofit. They participate in a leadership development and training program that we run here, and then we have them live in intentional community in 3 houses that we own and operate in the East End. We were attracted to board's work mainly by the high quality staff that are at the Bayer Center. We thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of jumpstart our organization in this next phase of growth, and we really saw board's work as a great vehicle, an outside resource that could help us get to where we needed to go.
What was your experience?
We had a great experience with the retreat. It was really a catalytic event for us that really pushed us to really examine some things in our organization and take those next steps that we needed to grow the organization. The Board's Work program really helped our organization kind of move to the next level. We felt that the offerings that they provided were fantastic, the staff there were great, and we really think that this kind of opportunity is both beneficial for folks in the nonprofit sector, but also on the corporate side to really gain knowledge and understanding of board governance, of how things should be operated at the board level, and it really provides stability for the nonprofit sector as a whole. So I came to Pulse basically about 5 years ago. At the time, the organization was in the midst of a restructuring. I was asked actually to help out for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
By the board at the time. They were looking for an executive director and things just weren't working out. So I had spent 4 months traveling around the world, came back to Pittsburgh. They asked if I would help out for 6 weeks, and 5 years later, here we are. So that was my initial kind of experience with Pulse.
And did you have experience working in nonprofits before that, or what's your background?
Yeah, so I worked for 9 years, almost 10 years in a nonprofit prior to Pulse that had actually a similar kind of work and mission, basically setting up partnerships with other organizations to accomplish the task. I think Pulse's mission is somewhat unique in that we've decided not to just kind of do things on our own, but we decided to see what's happening in the nonprofit sector around us and then sort of partner with those agencies to do the work. So it makes sense to work together rather than, on our own.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh, so I moved to Pittsburgh 15 years ago from Southern California. That's where I kind of grew up, went to school in Santa Barbara, and then made the trek out to Pittsburgh, which definitely was a culture shock, initially, but I've come to love Pittsburgh. There's so much here in this city. It has so much to offer. And I think more than anything, the people here I found to be really outstanding, and certainly those were folks that I met at the Bayer Center too. I mean, they were great. Pittsburgh's definitely a much smaller city or area, so there's a stronger kind of tight-knit community here, and I think people are really supportive of one another. There's a collective desire for everyone to succeed, and there's a willingness to help each other towards larger goals than those that would just exist within an organization. So I found it to be extremely collaborative, and I think there are silos in sectors regardless, but I think Pittsburgh's one that sort of works hard to break down those silos and to collaborate and work together towards positive change. Pulse has existed now for 20 years, and over the last 20 years, we basically invited about 175 young adults to partner with over 100 different nonprofits in the city, contributing some like 300,000 hours of service to the city of Pittsburgh and its residents. So it's really made like a transformative impact in the lives of young adults, in the lives of nonprofits, and in the lives of Pittsburgh neighborhoods. We have a lot of relationship, we have a database of probably close to 1,000 different nonprofit contacts and executive directors, and so we're heavily invested in kind of, and oftentimes too, like bridging the gap between organizations or making suggestions, just like the foundation community would do, because we have like a little bit higher level knowledge of what's happening in a bunch of different organizations, from environmental to education to
Yeah.
So I had participated in a lot of Board's Works offerings, but this was the first time that we saw an opportunity for our whole board to kind of come together, to get on the same page, and to help move our organization forward as a collective entity. Yeah, I mean, we saw an opportunity that was set up through the Forbes Fund to be a part of a cohort of 10 people. These would be board chairs and executive directors to sit in on a number of meetings, including a board's work retreat, where we would, learn from other organizations as well as receive some top-notch training and development from the Bayer Center staff. So we saw that as a great opportunity to take advantage of the opportunity that was presented to us through the Forbes Fund and, bring everyone together. I think the benefit of the board's work program was really an opportunity for all of us to get on the same page, to develop a common language and vision for where we want to go and how we want to get there. So the value of the retreat really was connected to creating a strong infrastructure and a strong foundation for us then to launch out of to the growth goals that we had for the organization. So before board's work, we were really struggling with trying to get both staff and board on the same page. We had a really solid base, but we really needed to kind of take things to the next level. We were exploring some growth goals for the organization, and we really felt like the board's work program helped establish a strong base and foundation for us to build from. So it really created an infrastructure for us, a way of discussing some of the challenges and issues that we were facing in a common language to discuss those things and then work towards the goals that we had set for the organization. The staff at the Bayer Center is fantastic. We've really appreciated all the time and energy that they put in to listen to our needs and to create solutions that are specific to our organization. So it's really been beneficial to work with a group of people that's very collaborative and that really wants to work with nonprofit partners to achieve success. Working with the Bayer Center has been fantastic. We feel like they've created opportunities for us to grow as an organization, and I highly recommend that others take advantage of the opportunity to utilize their services. I think anyone that utilizes their services will not be disappointed with what they receive in return.
So we collect stuff that businesses and individuals would normally just throw away, and then we turn it into fuel for art, innovation, and education.
Nice. So when did you guys start?
Well, we started in 2007. We received our independent nonprofit status early last year. We're really excited about that. And we've been in the space where we are now since the summer of 2011. Our largest program is our Center for Creative Reuse. We call it simply our shop. And it is not just a store. It is a resource center, an inspiration center, a place where people can come and get project ideas and inspiration and encouragement for their creativity. Behind me, you'll see our idea center. These are all things that people have made with materials from our shop. And it's a place where people can come hang out, use our free Wi-Fi, and work on their creative projects at our tables, or just get ideas that they can take away for their classrooms or their art projects or for families at home. And we're just a regular shop. We're open 6 days a week. And we have art supplies, fabric, yarn, sewing materials, things you'd expect to find in the craft store, except that they're all gently used. And then we also have strange things you will never find anywhere else. Things that are business byproducts, industrial mistakes, the spools that things came on, the rolls that things came on, and weird vintage things that probably would get thrown away if they went to a thrift store, but an artist might be able to make them into something really great. So based on advice from folks at the Bayer Center and also other people we had met in the nonprofit community, we held a couple of board interest meetings where we invited folks from our community to come visit us at the shop and learn a little bit more about what we do, gave them some wine and cheese, and asked them if they were interested in serving on our board. And through that process, we actually got more potential board members than we even had space for, which was an awesome problem to have. We had expected to add 2 or 3 board members during that process, and it turned out we had 8 people who were wonderful, energetic, committed people and ready to serve. So now we had a new challenge, which was how to add way more board members than we expected to and get them all up to speed and on the same page. So that was where boards work became extremely helpful to us. So we went through the boards work process. Some organizations use boards work primarily to identify new board members, and then others use boards work to help develop the board that they already have. So we were kind of in between those two things, because we were able to identify a lot of board members on our own, and now we needed to get them oriented. So we worked with the Bayer Center to customize a program with a consultant that was really designed to meet our specific needs as a board. So we developed a retreat that would bring all of our new board members together with our existing board members and provide both an orientation to our organization and to board service in general. So we had this wonderful day where we all got together and talked about who we are and what we do and what our goals are, and then really learned best practices for our board service. The really wonderful thing about working with the Bayer Center was just feeling like we weren't alone. Like there was a place we could turn for advice and for guidance, and that there were really smart people out there who had figured out the best way to do a lot of things, and were willing to provide us with some assistance. So the value started from the beginning of our relationship with the Bayer Center, and then through the boards work retreat that we planned together. And because of that retreat, all of my board members have the same ideas about what the board is supposed to do, what our responsibilities are, who does what. It's really important to establish the difference between the role of the board and the staff. We're always going to keep developing. We can always do better, but we have a really great baseline and a foundation for how we can work together. Before I moved to Pittsburgh, I managed a small nonprofit in Nashville, Tennessee, and I loved my community there. It was a great experience, but coming to Pittsburgh was completely different. The nonprofit community here is so supported and supportive. I felt really alone in some ways in Nashville, and like I was really reinventing the wheel a lot because I didn't have this set of resources where I could turn to folks for guidance on really how to do this right. So I feel like Pittsburgh is a really wonderful place to be working in the nonprofit sector, and I feel like we have a real community that is working together to make it a better city and a better world. So there are two parts of boards work. One is the retreat, the board development we've already talked about, and then the other is matching potential board members with organizations based on those individual skill sets and the organization's needs. We were lucky that we found most of our board members on our own, but we were also lucky that boards work was able to match us with a really awesome guy, Brian, who wound up being our board treasurer. And he's someone who came to the organization with so much enthusiasm and desire to learn and commitment to really support what we do. And we're really grateful for Boards Work for helping us find him, because he's a great addition to our board. And through the Boards Work matching process, we also found our fantastic board treasurer. The Boards Work matching process identifies folks who are interested in serving on nonprofit boards and matches them with organizations that could really use their skills and that fit their interests. Most of our board members we found on our own, but the one that we got through Boards Work is a really wonderful addition to our board, and we're so grateful to have him. So I can't say enough wonderful things about the folks at the Bayer Center. They do such a wonderful job of supporting all of us in the nonprofit sector. And they don't just care about making sure that our organizations thrive, they care about helping us thrive as individuals as well and helping us grow in our roles. Most of us who work in the nonprofit sector don't do it because we went to school. We don't do it because we're experts in running organizations. We do it because we're passionate about our missions and the work that we do. So having an organization that is committed to helping us learn best practices and share expertise can really help us to not reinvent the wheel and to feel like we're not alone out here.
Maybe
I'm
say
still not
something.
saying that.
You
So when we're faced with a challenge because, we didn't go to business school, we often feel like our situation is unique and we end up reinventing the wheel. But having an organization like the Bear Center can help us see that we actually all face a lot of the same issues. And the Bear Center really helps us to make those connections and learn from best practices and really build our community together.